I have not met Mayor Rybak before today, but his reputation precedes him around the country. Joe Riley, the famous mayor of Charleston, South Carolina, often says most mayors spend 85% of their time worrying about the budget. And the day after they leave office, their city isn't much different than it was the day they came into office. The mayors that make a difference think about the place that their city is, how to make that place better for the people of their cities. So mayors, think about the place that you lead. And yours is a mayor who has a very strong reputation for doing that. So let me introduce R.T. Rybak.
Thank you. A man after my own heart introducing me by quoting my hero, Joe Riley, an amazing mayor, probably the greatest mayor in the history of the world, I would say, in Charleston. I was so excited when you were talking about those mid-career programs, and I was thinking, geez, okay, interested in design, this, I was going through it sounding so great, and then when you got to the part about humble about accomplishments, I thought, I won't qualify. Too bad. So somebody else will be. I really want to thank the team that I have heard has done an incredible job putting this together. Team Cummings, obviously, with the amazing Juxtaposition Arts. Give them a huge round of applause. And I've also been told that this is an amazing group of people who've done the local organizing. You don't need to tell me that, because I look around this room and see amazing people. I want to make sure people know Kevin Reich, who's in the middle of his first extraordinarily promising term as a council member in Minneapolis, who's done wonderful work, and he represents the part of the city that the arts districts in Northeast, and so he's a real pivotal player. Stephen Bosacker, our city coordinator. Stephen is the chief administrative officer for the city. These issues are deeply important to Stephen. He is in the midst of hiring our first full-time arts coordinator for the city, and so Stephen is a good person to network with. Erica Prosser is my policy aide in the back here, and she will be working on these issues. I also wanted just a shout out to Eric Takashita, who used to work in my office and is now at LISC, who's an amazing resource. I could go around this room and say great things, but one of the great things was last night. When I was giving a group a bus tour in Minneapolis, I was going down Broadway Avenue, went by Juxtaposition Arts, and I talked about all the amazing things that have been done to engage young people, and it just got oohs and ahs from the crowd. And just when they calmed down, I went by the Capri Theater, Ann Long and Carl Reichert, and talked about last Saturday night being there and seeing Greta Oglesby and seeing that we're finally realizing this vision that the Capri is our Apollo, that people go to North Minneapolis not in spite of it, but because of it, and it is really, really demonstrating exactly what's happening. I could go on and on, but thank you guys for all the work that you're doing. You're doing this at a really pivotal time in the city of Minneapolis where the physical layout of this city, our design, who we are physically, has never been more important. It's a period of extremely exciting innovation going on right now. Just in the heart of town, we're in the middle of rethinking PV Plaza, talking about a new park at the north of the library, one in the warehouse district. We are talking about redoing Nicollet Mall and tying all of that together in a gateway that really connects the Grand Rounds together finally, the lakes to the river. And really in that way, with the new Upper River plan, are part of saying that this generation of people in Minneapolis that benefits from generations of people thinking big things are going to be part of laying a groundwork for generations to come. It's incredibly exciting work. It's also exciting work, and I want you to really think a lot about this today, to recognize that this city has 12 months of the year, okay? We don't have summer and then inside, okay? And it is really time to aggressively assert who we are all of those months of the year. How many of you went to the City of Lakes Lopet or the Luminaria Lopet on that beautiful night on Lake of the Isles where all those ice lanterns were, about 7,000 people were there, and it really said to me that we're not going to be apologizing for our weather anymore. You like San Diego? Move to San Diego. You want to be here? Build a winter city. So we're we're working with Olga Viso on a winter city conference at the Walker next year, but really assert what does that mean. I think that is hugely important. You're also here at a period of time where design has never been more important for solving the big issues we have. Think about climate and the energy crisis, okay? And people think that has nothing to do with design. I'm going to go build a green company. I'll go build it 50 miles out of the city and people will have a 3-hour commute to get there. I'm sorry, that's not the way it works. The idea is that cities need to really reassert ourselves as pro-growth, as places where more people can locate, where we increase density along transit corridors and build that transit. We are doing streetcars in this city. And we will continue to build more transit. That's where we have the opportunity to grow. And if we're going to really tackle climate change, really tackle energy use, that's about design. Look at economic development. I mean, stop and think about that for a second. I'm no scientist, but I do know that people are a lot like matter. When you put them together, they create energy. I mean, that rub, that grist that you get when humans interact with people who are a little bit different than them is really where innovation occurs. And we're in an innovation economy, we're in a creative economy. We need to make sure we create places where people interact. And if you look at the issue of community, and you look at the fact that for too long we have been isolated from each other, we really need to recognize that this vision of cities that are denser, that are more populated, where we have that innovation occur, are all about all of us coming together. And I want to finish that with a quick illustration. Stephen and I were just in Stockholm. And one of the things we were doing there is giving advice about immigration, especially with Somalis. In their view, it's working dramatically better here. These two cities with the largest Somali population outside of Mogadishu have vastly different experiences. We have challenges here. But in Stockholm, they have far greater challenges and they see a success. What does that have to do with design? Well, stop and think about this for a second. We went over there to study the great European cities because, of course, they have so many things that we want to replicate. Densely populated, transit-oriented, strong center cities, that's wonderful. But something happened that as American cities sprawled in the horrible way we didn't want them to, what happened is that poverty and immigration really occurred in the inner city. And so streets like Lake Street and Central Avenue were reborn with immigrants. Now, as more people repopulate the city, we get a natural integration that's occurring, and we need to accelerate that process. Now think about Stockholm for a moment. What happened there? The city stayed strong. The immigrants were focused on the outside of the city. Poverty was on the outside of the city. You can walk down the main street of Stockholm, almost the same Somali population as here, and not see a single Somali in the entire city. They're isolated away. No natural integration. That rub that I talked about, that grist that I talked about, is not occurring there. Where do you believe innovation will occur? I believe it will be here, in a city where we now speak 1,000 languages, 100 languages, I'm sorry, we'll wait for 1,000. Where we come from all over the world. What's really happening here is we are now wonderfully positioned to be a great global city. The next generation is the most valuable city we have because we are with each other. So that large point that I make is that this is not something that you're doing because we're going to create some pretty pictures on a drawing board so that they look good on a gallery. The wonderful thing about city design is it is art you live with. And it is art that changes the way we live. And that is the beautiful opportunity we have right now in our city. Think no small thoughts as we look at the kind of place we want to be. Reach really high, because we're in a period of time that I know people will look back on and say, at this magic moment in Minneapolis, a coalition of people from multiple places came together and took a great city and made it even greater. So thank you for being here. Do great work today, and I can't wait to see the results.